and mute original audio when they come in for Spanish interpretation. And please, if someone heard what I said about speaking slower, please give me a sign, like raise your hand or do something. No, you didn't hear? Nathaniel? Or Shannon? I lost you. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
And did you hear what I said about?
Yep, about doing
I
audio
think I
stuff.
am, but I said, please speak slower because I'm translating at the same time as I'm listening to you.
Correct. Nathaniel, you got that?
And in Spanish is one third longer than English. Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes, I believe so. Nathaniel, are you hearing him?
I think as far as Shannon and Nathaniel, I think Shannon is not hearing me, and maybe it's because she hasn't chosen mute original audio. Can you tell her? And everybody else who is listening in English needs to do the same, okay? Choose English and mute original audio.
Shannon, can you hear us? I can't hear you. We're not hearing you. You got to go down to the globe and pick English, I think.
Yes, Shannon.
We see you talking, but we can't hear you.
Danny?
Okay.
Danny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, and then you all, if you are in English, have to choose English. You have to choose English and mute original audio to hear me in English, okay? All of you.
Okay, so should we just get started?
Anytime, as far as I'm concerned, just Shannon, just listen for a second. Shannon, this is very important. Speak slowly, please.
We'll get going, okay?
Can you hear me, Shannon? Did you hear me, Shannon?
All right, so welcome everybody.
Shannon is not listening to me.
My name is Shannon.
Yeah,
I hear you, but I don't hear her.
Yeah, I can barely hear her, Gary.
That's why she hasn't, because she hasn't gone into English and muted original audio, I think. Can you tell her that? I don't think she's listening to me either.
Shannon, can you hear me? This is Gary.
Yep, I'm here. I can hear everybody just fine.
We can't hear you, though. You got to pick English.
I don't have an English control. So where on my controls is
it's on the bottom.
It's a little globe at the bottom.
Should be a globe.
I can hear her just fine.
Me too, but she is not.
Yes, I can as well.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Right,
hope it works.
Going or...
I can barely hear her.
Okay.
Right.
I can barely hear you.
Lots of people are saying they can hear. Maybe Nathaniel, can you try to turn up the volume?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Thanks everybody for chiming in on the chat that you can hear. I guess if you cannot hear, please, say so.
Yeah. I can hear.
Okay. Thank you.
Anytime.
All right. So since everyone can hear, we can get going. I guess if anyone is in need of the interpretation services but are not able to hear the interpreter, we need to know that. Okay, so someone said if you click English on the interpretation button, you are hard to hear. You have to have interpretation off. And then it says you can hear. So I'm not seeing an interpreter button on my controls, so I'll look.
Is it, Shannon, do you see reactions? And then do you see English next to reactions?
So part of my issue is because I am screen sharing, my controls are in different places than yours. And
okay.
I don't always have all the same things here. So I'm.
Okay, well, we have the PowerPoint up.
Okay. So I would imagine that as long as you can hear me and the PowerPoint is up and you can hear that or see that we should be good to go.
Yes.
I tried to speak on the English channel and no one answered. So I don't know if they know what to do.
Speak slower, which I will. So sorry.
Yes. Shannon, can you hear me? Shannon, can you hear me? Shannon, can you hear me? She cannot hear me. And that's not very good.
Shannon, we can't hear you now.
Yeah.
What changed here?
Because
Because I can hear you.
yeah, because I changed it to English.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you need to stop share first, then make that switch, and then go back to
we'll try that.
sharing again, maybe.
Yeah,
that might be the issue.
Okay, so I will stop. I'm stop sharing now. You think I have to hit something? Okay. So
yeah,
then
I'm not a Zoom expert
no,
either. But I'm
that's
just wondering,
okay.
you know.
Now
I have done this and I'm telling you what can be done. So
I would hit English. Is that what I do?
Yes, and also choose mute original audio.
I would assume, yeah.
Shannon, did you hear me? Shannon.
So I'm going to hit English.
Right. Please tell her to do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I'm going.
Now you're good.
Okay.
Shannon.
Now you're good, Shannon.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Then you have to mute original audio so your audio is not mixed with English and Spanish.
Okay, so I have to mute my own audio, my
original audio in the globe, not the one for everyone.
Mute original audio. Okay.
Right, and then you have to tell people to introduce me quickly, and I'll tell them to go to the Spanish channel for Spanish, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware I had to do all this, so I really apologize.
Yeah, and I've done it many times. That's why I'm trying to help.
Okay, I appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
Now go ahead and do your share back to the PowerPoint.
Right.
And then I think we're good to go here.
Yeah, I think so.
Now everybody can hear me.
Yes, Nathaniel.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So then the interpreter for the session is Jesus, I missed your last name, Alvaro, is it?
Alvarado.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm not sure what to say about the channel.
Let me say it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Hola, personas que están en la sesión para la interpretación en español. Por favor, en el globito que está abajo, escojan su idioma que es español y yo voy a estar hablando en español y no me van a escuchar las personas que están escuchando en inglés. Y si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor pueden ponerla en el chat para mencionársela a la persona que está presentando. Espero que esto les ayude. Así que me voy a pasar al canal de español. I'm going to the Spanish channel and I'm going to ask if anyone is there, okay? And listening to me. And I'll stay there in the Spanish channel unless I need to say something to you, to English-speaking people.
All right, so thank you. And if you are a participant in the session, please mute so that way we don't have any additional noise or interference, okay? All right, so hello everybody. Sorry for the rough start. We will get through as much of the presentation as we can. My name is Shannon Webb, and I'm an associate with In Control Wisconsin. I work with the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities on some of their projects, one of which is called the Living Well Project. And we're going to talk today, me and Nathaniel, and he'll introduce himself real soon, about what we're doing in the Living Well Project with self-advocates to lead the way to provide education on self-advocacy and abuse awareness for people with disabilities across the state of Wisconsin. So Nathaniel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Shannon. My name is Nathaniel Lantz, and I am a Living Well self-advocate leader. So what that entitles, what I do is I am doing projects for People First Wisconsin in related to living well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nathaniel.
Overview. Purpose of the Living Well project: why it is important for people with disabilities to learn about abuse, about the Safe and Free series, and number 4, abuse awareness. What abuse is and how to report it.
Yeah, so those are the things that we're going to cover in this session, and we're hoping to get through them all. So I did include a video, which we may end up skipping just for time's sake, since we got off to a later start. So one thing that I just want to say before we start the session is that we're going to be talking about sensitive information. So I wanted to just mention, that if you feel upset or triggered by something that we're saying, reach out to someone who can support you. If you do put anything in the chat or share a personal experience that maybe you've had that is making you feel uncomfortable, we'll ask you to stop and then we'll help you after the session. So because we're talking about things like abuse and the idea that people could be hurt or spoken to badly, it may bring up feelings in you. And we just want to make sure that we're here to support you, but also let you know that this is a public session, and we wouldn't want you to overshare information that is personal. So we are, as Nathaniel mentioned, he's part of the Living Well project, and so am I. The Living Well project in Wisconsin is a project with the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities. So, who's bringing you this conference today. And we're one of 8 states across the United States that's involved in this project. And what we're really trying to do is figure out ways to promote health, safety, and connectedness for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities across Wisconsin. So with part of that work is helping self-advocates learn about abuse and healthy and unhealthy relationships so that they can tell a trusted someone, know how to keep themselves safe from abuse, or know how to report anything bad that might happen to them, because protecting yourself in that way is a very important life skill. In the Living Well project, we have been doing a lot of different things to help self-advocates with their self-advocacy skills, with being safe and healthy and connected. And so every Wednesday, we do a Living Well Wednesday at 11 o'clock through the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities Facebook page. So if you are a Facebook user, you can get on those. They're live every Wednesday at 11. Not tomorrow, though, because of the self-determination conference. So if you register and sign up for the session tomorrow for the self-determination conference. And then we also have a healthy, safe, and connected toolkit that can be found on the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities website. We have developed what's called the Safe and Free curriculum, which Nathaniel and I will talk with you about. And we've developed different guides and booklets about rights and responsibilities for self-advocates. We've put videos up on the self-determination channel and lots of other resources that we're creating for self-advocates to help them learn how to be healthy, safe, and connected. So all that stuff is on the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities website. All right, Nathaniel.
Okay. The Safe and Free classes are taught by a safe advocate leaders and agency staff teach it together. So let's say can be done virtually or in person in a small group, 6 to 10 people. Usually it's 6 to 8 people, depending on how many the two self-advocate and the staff leader can get for each class. Evaluating what people learn. Goal is to scale and sustain after Living Well project ends. And then the courses that we teach is knowing yourself and your community, problem solving, effective communication, rights, voting, staying safe at home and in the community, abuse awareness, and healthy relationships.
Yeah.
And sometimes the self-advocate leaders and the staff agency will split the lessons up. So they might teach half of knowing yourself or half of healthy relationships. So they will work with the self-advocate to make sure that is it too tough or is it, so each person who takes the class is able to understand the material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like Nathaniel said, there's a group of self-advocates, which he is one of, Nathaniel, and there's about 9 other self-advocate leaders right now that are working with different agencies to hold these safe and free, classes or learning sessions with groups of people across the state so that they can learn self-advocacy skills and they can learn about healthy relationships, keeping themselves safe at home and in the community. And the great thing about this is that the self-advocate leaders and the staff teach it together, and the self-advocate leaders play a big role in helping their peers understand why this is important, to learn about these things and how self-advocates can keep themselves safe. A lot of times people with disabilities haven't had experiences or opportunities to learn about these things, to learn how to speak up for themselves, to learn how to respond if someone does something or says something that they're uncomfortable with, or to learn what it means to be in a healthy relationship where people respect each other's boundaries and things like that. So this work is really kind of groundbreaking in Wisconsin, in that it's being co-taught by self-advocate leaders with agencies to help people all over the state develop.
And it's open-minded. So
yes,
the self-advocate leaders and agencies that we have a curriculum, but like you can switch up like what you want to teach, like different activities. That's what I'm trying to get to. Like you can switch up the activities, but make sure that you have the curriculum in mind when you do those activities.
Yeah, so our hope is, like the slide here says, is to scale and sustain this after the Living Well project ends. So right now what we're doing is we have the curriculum or the guide that the self-advocate leaders use to teach the classes. And with every class, we get feedback from them about what works, what doesn't work, what activities people seem to like or not like. And we change the curriculum based on what we're hearing from people. And once we feel like we have a good product, then it'll become available for anyone to use. But the idea is that people first will hopefully have be able to bring on more self-advocate leaders to partner with agencies to provide this education to other self-advocates across the state. So that's our goal, is to create kind of this larger group of self-advocate leaders who know how to teach about being safe and free from abuse and neglect, safe at home and having healthy and in the community and having healthy relationships. All right. So, next slide. All right, Nathaniel.
People with disabilities are at risk for abuse. We must stop abuse of people with disabilities. People with disabilities experience many kinds of abuse. This could be physical, sexual, or mental abuse, or financial abuse, where someone takes their money. People with disabilities can also be neglected by their own caretakers. Neglected means that that the caregiver will not take care of the person who's disabled, and sometimes the disabled one is not taking care of themselves. So there's both sides of that issue. And then I'll go on. People with disabilities are 4 times more likely than others to be victims of rape, sexual assault. People with intellectual disabilities are victims of violent crimes more often than people with other types of disabilities. And crimes against people with disabilities are often committed by someone they know, even family. And so the big, throughout this whole slide here, the big word is neglected. So it can go both ways. And is there anything? Go ahead.
No,
Shannon.
just that people with disabilities, unfortunately, are more likely to experience abuse in their life. So it's even more important that they know what to do about that and who to report it to and what should be expected when it is reported, right?
Correct.
Yep. All right. So the reason why people are at an increased risk of experiencing abuse in their life is that, or neglect, is because maybe they lack supports or, the support that they need to be healthy and safe. They may be isolated because, people in their lives maybe think that they can't be part of the community or can't go out and about and do things or need to stay in a facility-based setting or things like that. So they may feel like, not have other people in their life that can kind of monitor and help make sure that things are going okay in their lives, right? So that makes them vulnerable if they're alone. Sometimes people with disabilities rely on other people to help with their cares or help them around the house or, to live, and do their chores and go out in the community and that kind of thing. And so that makes them that because they're dependent on other people for those important supports, they may not be as independent, on their own, and that relying on a caregiver may make them more vulnerable. So there's sometimes then what happens is, unfortunately, people who are isolated and don't have supports and rely on other people can be, are more likely to be victimized or spotted by people who, maybe have ill intentions. And so it's really important that self-advocates know how to protect themselves, how to use some basic strategies to tell people what might be happening if something bad is happening. So, Nathaniel?
What needs to change? People with disabilities be seen as real witnesses to abuse and be taken seriously. People with disabilities must receive support in how to know when abuse is happening and how to report it. Professionals interviewing people with disabilities need training in how to listen and how to help people with communication challenges. There must be a better reporting system. The system is not working well right now, not knowing where to report or who to report to.
Right. So unfortunately, people don't always know they have a voice and should say something if something doesn't feel right, or if something, they feel awkward, or, feel like something is going wrong in their life. And so we need to let them know that they can report that, and that they should be listened to and believed, and that the system should respond to them, and that they should have support to end whatever abuse is happening to them at the time. So, these last few slides have been a handout that People First Wisconsin created for self-advocates to explain why knowing about abuse is important. It's an important platform for people with disabilities to understand and to advocate for, and that people know their rights to be heard and to be responded to. And so these are just some stories from People First members. Nathaniel, did you want to add in anything about these? So it can be financial abuse, sexual or physical abuse, or caregiver abuse. So you gave some examples before, but do you want to say anything about any of these?
I would give you one on financial abuse. I think everyone should watch out for right now because of COVID-19. We are isolated right now, and I think that lots of people are on the internet now, and lots of people are in chat rooms right now, like over Facebook, Hangouts. Mm-hmm. I understand you want to communicate, but please communicate with friends on Facebook.
People that you know and trust.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. People that you know. If you see someone trying to communicate with you on Hangouts or WhatsApp that you don't know, block them ASAP, as soon as possible, as soon as possible, because they only want one thing. They will want to take advantage of you. Mm-hmm. And please block them right away.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you want to make sure you're safe on the internet. You want to make sure you're safe at home. You want to know that your belongings are safe, and how to do those things. And so this is what the Safe and Free education does for people, is it really helps you understand, how to look for signs of people maybe not treating you well as how to keep yourself and your belongings safe, and what to do if something goes bad and you need to report that to someone. So these are just some examples, people taking their belongings, people hurting them physically or emotionally. And then also, people, caregivers perhaps not being, not showing up for work, or showing up, in this case, drunk. Not to say that always happens, but it may, and you have every right to say something about that and make sure that you tell a family member or tell the agency that you work with, or care manager or IRIS consultant. So I'm going to skip over our, oops, I don't know what happened there. I'm going to skip over our video right now, and then I'm going to go back to it if we have time. Okay. So I'm trying to find my right slide. Oops, my video is not. Hold on, I'm going to stop share a second. My PowerPoint seems to have frozen. It's like we couldn't have any more technology problems this session. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's it's the life we live in right now. So
No, if it's not one thing, it's another.
it's
Okay, so I'm going to reshare from here because there. Okay, can you see where it says group talk?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Gary. All right, so I did notice that someone just recently put something in the chat here. Just let's see.
yes, I saw
My
that too.
son lives downtown Madison, Wisconsin. There have been rioting recently, and there's a lot of rough people in the area. Can you address some solutions to help him keep safe in the situation? Well, I mean, I would think that, you know, you'd want to help him identify when maybe are the safer times to go out and about. Some of the skills related to, like we always call it, know, go, and tell. So if someone does approach him, to just say no with, you know, firmly and walk away and go tell someone if he's ever approached. So that's no, go, and tell. And just, you know, maybe also could be a matter of, you know, helping him identify, you know, going out with him to identify what are the safe ways to, you know, walk around downtown or get to where he needs to go. So, you know, places to avoid, if there's more rioters in certain places or the other, or ways to, you know, you see something, you cross the street, you know, that kind of stuff. So, you know, so I would kind of look at, you know, what would you be doing to keep yourself safe in that situation, and try to teach him some of those same safety skills about, you know, times to go out, ways to respond, ways to avoid the dangerous areas. So I guess I want to pose to the group here just this question. Have you had any training or talks before with your family, your teachers, or service providers about, you know, how to identify abuse and what to do if someone is treating you badly? And, you know, if so, who did you talk to and what did you learn? So do you feel like your family or your teachers or your service providers have taught you some of these skills, or do you feel like you'd want to take a class like Safe and Free to learn more safety skills in the community? So you can either unmute and say something or just put it in the chat. Somebody's saying they still can't hear me. And that's coming from Andrea Curley. So I don't know, Gary, if there's anything.
Yeah, I know she had it earlier and then she left, and then now she's back. I'm looking it over.
So
Shannon, can you hear me?
Megan knows to tell her mom. So then her mom will intervene and take action. Very good. So always telling a trusted someone. Someone said they talked to their therapist, who is amazing in helping her understand how bad my dad actually is and how neglectful my mom is. So absolutely be telling someone that you trust. That's a definite strategy if someone is treating you badly. Talking to your best friends, absolutely. Okay, all right. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Okay, so Nathaniel, what are the ways that people with disabilities, self-advocates, and all of us really can stay safe from abuse?
Or stay safe from abuse? Or stay safe from abuse. Do not just go to places where that have like a feeling of like, go to coffee shops, go to places that have safe environments. Like internet, that can be safe, but it cannot be. That can be safe, but it wouldn't. Sometimes it's not safe. It just depends where you go on the internet, and if you feel like you went into a place that's not safe on the internet, what Shannon said before, say go and tell someone right away. Like if you live with your parents still, or if you see outside guidance, like a therapist, go and tell your therapist right away, because there is like on assessment health, like Dean, you can message your therapist right away, and they will write you back within 3 days, and they'll give you, they'll tell you what you should do next. So try to find, like, go to like a bookshop, go to places where you think that you would be comfortable.
Great.
Listen to your gut and your feelings if it feels uncomfortable, which I kind of said the last slide, but use, know, go, and tell. And I can't say this more than enough, because no is a very, very strong word. No means, no, that means being assertive. That means being, that means that you're standing up for yourself. That means you are taking control of your life and you're taking action. Know how to keep your belongings safe. And that is being, if you have someone come over, like one of your friends comes over, and you just invited that friend to come over, but they bring in another friend. Well, you want your variables locked up. Well, just make sure that you keep your variables in an area that, like in your room, and lock your room. Or if you go out, make sure that you have your variables next to you. Know that you do not deserve to be know that you do not deserve to be talked to or treated badly, no matter what. Exactly what that. So no matter what, you deserve to be respected. You deserve to be treated like everybody else, no matter what your disability is. You don't deserve to be called names. You don't deserve to be called anything. You deserve to be treated like anyone who does not have a disability, or therefore doesn't have a disability at all. And you deserve to be treated like everyone who lives on this earth.
There you go. Sorry, I was a little slow to.
No, it's okay. And I'm kind of slow too. Okay. If you tell someone and they don't believe you, keep telling other trusted people until someone helps you. Perseverance, meaning never giving up on telling trusted people until someone helps you. So keep telling your story, because you're the one that knows your story. Okay? You're the one that knows your message. So if you have to explain it 20 to 30 times, you have to explain it 20 to 30 times, and that's okay. And lastly, stay involved with a self-advocacy group, such as People First of Wisconsin. And we have People First of Wisconsin in Waukesha, Appleton. We have several around the state. Mm-hmm. And join one of People First of Wisconsin, because those groups will help you learn how to advocate for like at a a local level, state level, and then you could probably take partners in policy to talk to your state representatives in the future. So the best way to start is to join a self-advocacy group.
Very good point. Yep, find a self-advocacy group so you have peers around you. So I'm going to show a document. First, I want to answer two of the chats or respond to two of the chats that came in. You know, Vanessa, she explained that she had been a victim of abuse. And so I just want to say to Vanessa, if you do feel like you need any assistance or want to know how to be able to address that in your life, whether if it's still bothering you or whatnot, there is a resource through Disability Rights Wisconsin called the Victims Advocacy Program, which could be helpful if you need to be connected to resources to help deal with any remaining trauma or any issues that you have around what happened to you. So I would suggest getting connected to that or talking with a trusted person in your life about, you know, what resources might be able to help you if you still need them. And then Nancy had mentioned someone she knows about that had some instances of, financial theft over the internet and whatnot. And so that is actually something that you can report to the police because that is a crime if someone's money is stolen over the internet, and the local police department should be able to help work with the person to see if they can identify who stole the money or whatnot and bring charges to that person if possible. If it's something that's a repeated financial abuse situation where someone is like someone they kind of know or whatever that's repeatedly taking money from them or whatnot, you know, that can also be, both reported to Adult Protective Services as well as the police department. And the protective services can help to navigate that. So I wanted to show, so speaking of reporting, so sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on the chat there. So speaking of reporting, I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to share a document that exists as part of the Healthy, Safe, and Connected Toolkit that the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities has created. And this is a how to report abuse booklet that we have been sharing with self-advocates. Can you see a new share on my screen, Nathaniel?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So is it the guide to reporting abuse?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So what we're trying to do is create some plain language materials so that people with disabilities can learn about how they can address these things in their life, rather than always having to rely on other people to help let them know when and how to report abuse. We want self-advocates that, you know, if they feel that, they want to report something bad that's happening to them, that they know what steps to take. So this is just walks people through what their rights are. And, you know, they have the right to be safe. They have the right to be free from abuse and neglect. And that if anything, you know, happens to them that may be considered abusive, that they should definitely tell their IRIS consultant or their care manager, about that situation. If they are in long-term care, or like I said, if it is a situation that might be a crime, they can report that to Adult Protective Services or the police department in their local area. So this is, again, a guide on how to report abuse. So, if you are the person that's experiencing the abuse, so you would want to, tell a trusted adult. You could call your police department or 911 if you're in immediate danger, or if you need it to, stop immediately. And then, the other option is Adult Protective Services, which exists in every county. So these are your three options in reporting abuse and neglect. And then same goes for if you are a supporter of someone with a disability who may be experiencing abuse and neglect or has disclosed that to you, you have the same three options in terms of helping them report. And, like Nathaniel said, if you tell someone and they don't believe you, find someone else you trust to tell, because it's, really important that you are responded to. So, here are some examples of the different types of abuse: physical abuse, so hitting, pushing, shoving; emotional abuse, people calling you names, saying mean things to you, can also be, posting photos or other things that are hurtful to you online. There's sexual abuse, touching your body and your privates in ways that you don't want to be touched. Financial abuse, so taking your money, using it for themselves, or spending your money in ways that you don't want it to be spent. And then, neglect. So someone like Nathaniel said, not taking care of you the way that you need to be taken care of in order to be healthy and safe. Or maybe you're struggling to take care of yourself, and that could be something that you may need some help with. So there's my plan of action, so you can kind of plan out the steps that you want to take if something is happening in your life, and you can document and think through who you want to tell, okay? And who did you tell, and what do you want to happen next? Do you need to leave the situation? Do you want to have someone come and check on you? Do you want to learn more about your rights? Do you want to, work with an advocate to work through the situation? Do you need to get someone new to support you if it's a caregiver? Or is there something else that you need to stay safe? So, and then a call log, because unfortunately, sometimes what happens is our system is fragmented, which means it doesn't always work or respond to people when they have an abusive situation happening in their life. And so right here, oops, I'm going to blow that up. Right here, it says, who did you call? So that way if you don't get a call back and you know that you called more than 2 days ago about a situation, then you might need to call again, or you might need to call your care manager, IRIS consultant, and tell them, I called Adult Protective Services, and here's the number I called and what I said when I left a message. So that's a place where you can document that stuff. And then what you can do, so these handouts are available on the Self-Determination Conference website. What you can do is every county has its own Adult Protective Services helpline by county. So you can find your county and circle that so you have it handy. So so you know where to call, and you can see all of them are listed here. So I'm not going to go through and scroll through, but we do have all of them listed on this document, so you know who to call. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to check the chat here because I think we had some more people put. Okay, so let's see, I'm just going to go back. Yeah, so someone, gave the advice of, if you need to tell someone immediately. Don't wait to tell someone if something bad happens. Absolutely. So that was from Megan. Julie suggested that the magic words with the police or Adult Protective Services, also known as APSs, I do not feel safe. So if you're in a situation, make sure you say, if you're in a situation where you don't feel safe and something is bad is happening to you, make sure you tell them how you are feeling if you do not feel safe, because then they will probably respond faster and help you get out of that situation that you're in. So yes, again, if something has happened to you and you still need to work through that, I would call the Victims Advocacy number at Disability Rights Wisconsin and ask for the Victims Advocacy Program, and talk to the person there about who you can reach out to help with coping with that and processing, because they might be able to make a local referral to you so that you can connect with the right resources so you can work through that, because you shouldn't, even if it happened 20 years ago or longer, or 2 years ago or 2 months ago, you should be able to get help to work through that. Right, Nathaniel? That's something we really try to express to
people. You have to be proactive, and be proactive as often as you can, because in the end, someone will listen to you.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And someone just asked or put in the comment or asked the question, actually, what if you don't have a consultant or a care manager or a trusted person that's kind of permanent in your life and you need help with that. So if you don't have a family member that you trust or a really close friend, again, I think what you can do is call the Victims Advocacy Line. And here, what I'm going to do is, before we get off, I'm going to, for those of you in the chat, I am going to look that up really quick and drop that in there for you. So you have that. And I do believe it is at the end, Disability Rights Wisconsin's website and phone number is at the end of the document that I was just showing you. And that document is on the self-determination conference website in the handout section, okay? So Nathaniel, do you want to add anything else over the last couple of minutes?
I just, to those victims out there, I want to say, I'm very, very sorry. We are trying our best at Living Well to take the necessary steps to make sure that we are doing our best to make sure that we're getting the right steps so that people are not being abused, and making sure that they have someone to go to. Yeah. Because the call system is not correct. And we are at Living Well, we're trying to make sure that we are setting up the right steps so we get the calling system correct, because the system's not right now. And I'm very, very sorry for people who are going through this right now. And that's not right.
Right.
It's not right at all.
Right. And that's what we're trying to do. Good point, Nathaniel, with this project is really improve the system and also help self-advocates know, how to respond if something's happening. So that's what the Living Well project is really trying to make improvements in this area so that we can really, work to stop abuse and neglect for people with disabilities. So before we sign off, I just want to highlight that I posted the Disability Rights Wisconsin Victim Advocacy Program web link in the chat, as well as their 1-800 number. And I want to say to Kim, you asked about CEUs. If you could scroll up, because I just tried to cut and paste it from the chat, but I'm not able to. Gary had posted the CEU link. Let me try to do it again here. Maybe I can here. Okay. Oh, nope.
I just reposted it.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
Yes,
so
he did repost it.
The link for those of you who need the continuing education credits is in there. So, all right. Well, thank you all for joining the session. I'm so sorry we didn't get to the video, but we made it through, and we're able to get through most of it. So we appreciate you joining, and hope you have a good rest of the conference. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
And Shannon and Nathaniel, I think it worked very well. Shannon, you spoke slowly. And when you spoke faster, I could follow because I knew the material a little bit. And Nathaniel, you spoke very clearly and slowly. So I was very pleased too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep. Sorry so much for the initial confusion.
No, it's
a learning experience for me.
It's a learning process for everyone right now.
Yeah, I've done sign language interpretation and closed captioning service.